Hi everyone, Nick here to give some good, bad, and ugly of the Nintendo President New Switch 2 interview. So I have to say, all things being said, I think Doug Bowser did a great job of giving things that were very diplomatic, very in kind of a quasi politician stance in a very neutral manner. And I think with the divisiveness of the world and with how people have opinions, it's very important to give very upfront 101 responses to things. I don't want to listen to someone who is trying to complicate their answers to sound fantastic when they could just make the explanations very simple and effective to make me understand what this console or what the features have to be about. Now, that being said, about Doug Bowser's interview, I do think there's one issue I do have to take. And I will say one thing that I think is important that I do like is I did like his body language. He was very candid. He was very careful about how he said things. He did this kind of thing to kind of like bridge the connection between the parents and the gamers when he was talking about the parental controls. I think that was very important. Now, do I think that there are parents that are probably going to screw up those aspects of games? Probably. Like sometimes when you put on parental controls, it's not the answer is not always explained very easily for some parents. So it's not really that hard when you take like 5 minutes to really look at the explanations. But my point being is that I really wanted to see Doug Bowser really connect his experience of playing the games to the consumer. Now, I know what people are saying. He doesn't really need to do that. The developers and all these people can do that themselves. Right, I understand that. But if he's going to be selling me Mario Kart World, I want him to say statements such as, this game is going to take what you knew about Mario Kart and break the boundaries and really make the experiences so much bigger and better. Like that would make me want to buy Mario Kart World, right? This was kind of similar to the lines of criticism that I had towards iJustine. But, iJustine is a very simple, beautiful woman who just wants the visuals to do the work. And look, there's nothing wrong with letting the ooh and the ah really do the work. But when you're in an interview, you really need to make your words pop. And I think the thing that people forget is that when you talk, what you say is almost as important as how you say it. And if you say things and you make your language and everything really come to life, then you really have something amazing and beautiful and wonderful, and people gravitate to that. And I think with Doug Bowser's interview, which was effective, but also a little lacking in some areas, was the fact that he was able to give very brief responses in a manner of speaking that was just like, this is the console, this is what we're selling, this is the reason for the price point. So he did that very effectively. Now, my big problem is that I just think that, like, when you compare him to Reggie, there are things that Reggie is just gonna probably be a little bit better than Doug in certain ways. And Doug did a pretty good job. Like, I have to be honest, this is like a crisis mode for Nintendo, right? Like, if Nintendo sees this with tariffs and everything going on, they're just like, "What are we doing?" And they're probably going to be like angry and mad and everything. It's like if I walk down the street with this red Nintendo hat on, are they going to see the red Nintendo hat, or are they going to think it's a other type of red hat? So, and it's not going to be the Wahoo one; it's going to be someone else. So, but do you get what I'm saying? Because that's what I think is like. Again, if I put on this hat and this is my body language, people right away are going to get the attention, right? Because it's a red hat. But then they look at the name and they look at the words, and then they're just like, "Oh, that's what it is." And then they'll start smiling, and it's like, and if Doug Bowser, I think, did something like that, and I'm not saying he has to wear a red hat. That's not. It's just a metaphor. If he did something like that, it would have sold the console a lot better. And I did like the video because, again, I think Doug Bowser did a great job, all things considered. It's a crisis situation. I think it's a lot to deal with when it comes to the Nintendo Switch console being released and everything. But at the same time, I can't help but feel that this whole scenario, to be upfront, this whole scenario feels a little lacking, a little iJustine in its explanations. That it's simple and effective, but too simple. It's simple and effective, but it's lacking that heartfelt kind of like touch that just makes me go, "Aw, that's awesome." So that's what I really wanted to see from the Doug Bowser interview. Uh, I don't know how else more to say it. Like, I combed through the entire interview, and he gives really effective responses in terms how Nintendo's handling situation, how Nintendo is trying to go about things. Like, Nintendo is being very gingerly candid and is going to give us things that they think are going to work in a manner of speaking that is going to make us happy, but also, mind you, trying to appease the aspects of the tariffs and things like that. So this is a tough scenario to be in because, when you're in this scenario, people jump to many conclusions, right? Oh my God, the tariffs are going to cost like hundreds of dollars. Oh my gosh, this is going to be like a nightmare fuel. Oh, my kids love Nintendo and da 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 da. So, but the thing is that the thing that Nintendo has to remember is that what do people really like Nintendo for? They like their IPs. They like their games. Most importantly, they like the Wahoos and the hayas of the gaming world. That's what people go for. People don't just go for consoles with bland characters and no development because at the end of the day, if I wanted to play a game with no character, no development, well, I mean, Tetris is always there and it's a great game. I don't need to worry about the character development because the game is about fitting shapes. And it's a great game, by the way. I love Tetris. But it's a great game for what it is. It's not a great game for the layers that Nintendo is known for. And generally speaking, it's other titles like Mario and Zelda and Pokemon. And even though Pokemon Company is still Nintendo adjacent enough that I consider Nintendo. And Animal Crossing and Tomodachi Life, which I really, again, will still say that I really wanted to see the Mii's and such. So I do think that Doug Bowser gave a very unique response in his interview. I think he did a great job with what he did. But again, all I kept thinking was, can you make it a little more heartfelt? Could you share a bit about what Nintendo means to you? What it really like inspires you to do? I know some people are like that's too sappy or that's too corny or cheesy. It's like, well, then why do you play Nintendo? That would be my question. Why do you play Nintendo? Why do you enjoy it? Because it's fun. Okay, there's more layers to it than it's fun. It's because the experience is gratifying. It's because the experience on screen makes me feel accomplished. It makes me feel like what I'm doing has value and worth. Like when I'm playing a course in Mario Kart and I get first, that makes me feel good. And then when I do bad, even though that doesn't make me feel good, the way I take that is I'm going to do better next time. And that's what the important of gaming is and should be. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. Did you think Doug Bowser did a good job in the interview? Did you not think he did a good job in the interview? I have a bit of 50-50s on certain aspects in certain areas. But thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.